Hi, Annalisa here with the January 2023 horoscope for the sign of Capricorn, sun and rising. Capricorn, Happy New Year. This has been an interesting time for you. We're in your season. Happy birthday to all the January Capricorns. And not only are we in your season, but we've had Mercury in Capricorn for, I think, most of December. Yeah, pretty much most of December we've had Mercury in Capricorn, and then Venus also entered Capricorn around the end of the second week in December. So we've also had Venus in Capricorn. So it's been a very Capricorn heavy Capricorn season. And then on December 29th, Mercury is stationed retrograde in your sign of Capricorn as well. And it's going to be retrograde for the first half of January, which is very unfortunate for all of us, especially you, because it's in your sign. The area that it's hitting for the horoscope has to do with identity, and Mercury is the planet that rules our perceptions, our ideas, communication. And so this is actually a really crucial time for you to reflect and review on your relationship to yourself and what being a Capricorn person is. Capricorn's the energy that rules the 10th house, and it's ruled by the planet Saturn. You're basically the boss of the zodiac. You're a boss bitch. And the father, the paternal energy that's kind of just killing it. I'm really envious of Capricorn dominant people. I have Capricorn placements and I'm just so grateful that I have any of them. But Capricorn sun and rising people, even moons, even the Capricorn moons that I know, like y'all just get shit done and you're very successful at it. Even though your perception of yourself is always that it's not enough. You're so hard on yourself, but you all are such badasses. You're so freaking successful. I know that my Capricorn energy is like that though. Like I'm really hard on myself too. So I think that's why I'm one of the people that enjoys Capricorn. A lot of people have a hard time with your energy, and I am aware of that, but I love it. And I love being around boss bitches. So congrats to you for being badass. But with that said, the inner critic that you have is so loud and so harsh. And I think this Mercury retrograde is going to be really difficult for that because of where it's hitting in the horoscope chart. And that inner critic might be very elevated, especially because Mercury retrograde doesn't allow us to move forward in the rate that we want to. It definitely stifles and kind of delays things. And so if you're going into the new year trying to like dominate the year right away, it's just not going to happen in the way that you want it to. I'm not saying that you won't be successful because you typically are, but it's just there's going to be a lot more blockages probably around getting there to the level that you want to right away. So my advice to you is to learn from that. Learn from, oh, my computer's glitching out. I'm back. Learn from slowing down and kind of stopping and smelling the roses and seeing if the things that you're moving and setting up are actually good, because that can also be a Capricorn trait where you're so diligent about doing it the way you think is the only way or the right way that the blinders kind of get put on and you don't always see the whole picture because you're so straight and linear focused. And so sometimes there's all this out here, but you're so hyper focused on what you have in front of you that you're missing this part. So that could be something that this Mercury retrograde is trying to kind of go, hey, out here. And it might be good for you to kind of see that there's other ways of doing things too sometimes. But it's a personal journey too, like where it's hitting. It's not necessarily about everyone else and other people. So that inner critic might be something that you're reflecting a lot on. Mercury is going to station direct around the 18th. And so we will be in the shadow period. Now, Capricorn dominant people don't typically feel shadow periods of signs the way that other signs do. And so you might not be as affected. It might station direct and it might be like, thank God Mercury's direct in Capricorn now, and let's move on with my life. Let's rule this shit. So that's possible for you, but we do have a shadow period. So things are not totally, the rest of us are not as together right away as you might be. So you still might be dealing with us all going, ah. So that's something to be mindful of too. We enter the year with Mars still retrograde in Gemini, which it's been retrograde in Gemini since the end of October, and it'll station direct around the 12th. You think I have this memorized by now after doing all these videos, but I don't. And Mars has been retrograde in Gemini and influencing for the horoscope chart the area that has a lot to do with daily routines and the way that you structure out your routine. And so that's something that you're probably also, you've been reviewing. You're like, are these systems of operation that I have in my life working? And chances are they haven't really been working with where Mars is retrograde. Chances are you're like, I need to review this system and make a better one. So much about our lives has changed as everything's happened in the last 3 years, that a lot of what used to work, which is Capricorn, the old way, no longer works. And Aquarius, which is what we're going to enter after Capricorn season, is about implementing the new way and finding new ways of doing things that improve upon the old ways. And so that's a theme for us as well, moving into Aquarius season. And Venus is actually leaving Capricorn in the beginning of January. It's going to enter Aquarius on the 3rd of January. And that's going to be influencing the area of your chart that has a lot to do with your self-worth and your financial stability. And so it's a really great time for you to get your finances in order or to generate more income into your life. But it's also a really great time for you to work on building confidence around what you're worthy of. So if you're self-employed, charging more, or believing in yourself to charge what you think you're worth, or even at your job, like if you are not making what you think you're worth, having those conversations could be part of that Mercury retrograde, and also kind of being like, I know my value and I want what I'm worth. That's a big theme for Capricorn at the beginning of January. The other thing that is happening in January is that Jupiter has officially entered Aries again in December, and it's going to be making its way through the first 5 degrees of Aries for all of January. And this energy squares Capricorn, which creates tension. But again, squares, pressure makes diamonds, can also ramp us up to be productive. And so it's actually not necessarily a negative energy. And the area that it's impacting for Capricorn is going to have a lot to do with the way that you share your ideas and communicate your ideas with others. Also, the Placidus chart that I have is kind of breaking this up in an interesting way, because the way that I would read it for whole signs would be quite different. So I do both. I look at whole signs and Placidus, and I kind of feel more inclined to read this for whole signs. And so where this would be impacting more in a whole sign perspective is definitely going to have more to do with improving upon your living environment. And so that could be something too, where you're more focused on your home and your living environment. And then it also can inspire some creativity, but it's not going to do that so much in the early degrees of Aries. So either way, it's a boost of energy. You might be feeling more productive when it comes to your personal life and kind of implementing things. It's all January is a very personally focused month for the Capricorn dominant person. So it's a really good thing for you to kind of hunker in and slow your roll a little bit going into the month, and then kind of getting everything in your immediate surroundings together. That way, when we start to have more momentum towards the end of the month, what your foundation of your home and where you're operating from is together enough so that you can go kill it out in the world. So that's going to be a big thing for you. At the beginning of the month too, we also have our full moon in Cancer. And so Cancer is the opposite sign of Capricorn. And so every Capricorn season, we have a full moon in Cancer, and Cancer rules, the energy of feelings and emotions and our connection to family and home, and some of the traditions that we can ancestrally have passed down to us in that way. And then Capricorn also has a similar energy, being the opposite sign, but has more to do with how that influence is brought out into the world. And so this is a time where you might be reflecting on that, especially when it comes to your relationship, because of where it's hitting in the chart. It has a lot to do with our personal relationships, like our romance partner, our like lovers and friends, things like that, like close friends. And so you might be in a position where you want to be more vulnerable, or you want to connect more in a deep way with people. Cancer has a lot to do with that. Connecting through food is really positive with Cancer and Capricorn people. So that might be something that you feel more around the 6th, like you want to just hunker in and do something like that. It's a positive way to spend that energy. And then also sometimes during full moons, we want to release energy, and sometimes releasing old patterns of behavior that aren't serving us computer glitched again. Mercury retrograde. Yay. It's been happening to me all day. I'm trying to get through these videos quick before the whole thing just crashes on me. Like the whole computer is just going to die. Not trying to manifest that. Don't die, computer. But yeah, so Cancer and Capricorn being the signs that kind of represent familial lineage, we sometimes are reflecting upon that during the season and figuring out what we want to align ourselves with and what we don't. And so for Capricorn, that's hitting in that house of relationship. And so we might be creating new traditions, celebrating other traditions, wanting to kind of find our place within that. And it's also a really good energy for self-care. So that's also something that we might be feeling. Once we get towards the end of the month, we enter Aquarius season on the 20th, and then we have a new moon at 1 degree Aquarius on the 21st, and then right after that, Uranus stations direct in Taurus. So I've said this in all the other videos, but this is a very positive time for us finally setting a New Year's intention, or any intentions for the new year. This to me is like more of the actual new year than the beginning of the new year. Because we don't have any more retrogrades. We're moving into Aquarius, which is the energy that builds upon and improves and moves things forward. And all the planets are kind of helping us move things forward. And so this is a good time to set intentions. Again, where it's hitting in the Capricorn horoscope is around self-worth and money and your material stability in that way. And so that's also really good for you to set intentions around that. And then Venus at the end of the month will be making her way into Pisces the last few days of January. And so that's also going to enhance some of the good energy around the way that you're thinking about things. Like some of the tension that you had maybe at the beginning of the month is going to start to dissipate, and you might feel more inspired and creative again. And it's also going to kind of help you be a little bit more vulnerable in how you communicate. And I think it's just going to be a good time for you to connect with people that are close to you in a harmonious way. So yeah, that's your horoscope for January 2023. End of the month is the good time to start bringing that Capricorn energy, pushing ahead, but don't be overzealous the first half of the month because it's just not the right time. Good luck.